Rolling Tin Fist.
Good morning, man. Got a few minutes before I start work and been thinking about and being married and the red pill and recent changes in our society, particularly with the Me Too movement and how it's really a harbinger for essentially female society trying to reduce officially, with the help of government if necessary, men to batteries, as simple as uncomplicated as that, and the effects it's having on single men, married men, young men, old men, what have you. And so I recently took last weekend to just stay home and do some thinking. It's something I did a lot when I was single before kids. I would just take anywhere from an hour to several hours and just read old books that had insights, go to the library, different articles spanning multiple subjects of things that I was interested in. Anything from, Buddhism, mechanics, cooking, travel, engineering, whatever the subject. It just had to be something that piqued my interest. And, when I was younger, before the internet was really a thing, the web was really a thing, I would spend 3-4 hours at usually the central library where I lived and just scour books. And not necessarily reading the whole thing, sometimes a particular chapter of a book or a magazine article. And I still do that today. And I think it's really been the framework of what even enabled me to stumble upon the red pill even after being married. I think, and most of you already know this, is part of the reason men either avoid what could be the path to the red pill, regardless of where they are in life, or just the writing literally on the wall, is that society doesn't really, especially today, doesn't really give you room to think. Or let me put it differently. If you don't literally jump out of the stream of data, information, distraction, news, whatever you want to call it, you'll go 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, 5 years, 5 decades, and your life will just keep on going, regardless of whether you give it direction or not, until it's too late. And you're where you are and you can't make much of a change, or the effort required for change is so much that you said, you know what, it's just better to give up. And so I did that last weekend, and I really read over, some of my old videos, some other YouTube providers, some older videos. Shout out to Barbarossa coming back on YouTube. Some of his old videos, just different YouTube content providers, some that are long gone. I went on the Rational Mail site. I hadn't been in a while. I looked at some stuff there. I looked through some of my old journals, looked at some old notes, and just really was able to remind myself why I bother, why the red pill is important, even being married. And this is particularly to married men out there. It's easy, especially once you take the red pill, to say, well, I'm married, I have kids, I have all these bills, I have a mortgage. What's the point? There's always a point, because red pill or not, you still have to get up in the morning. You still have to live the life you live. So why not do the best to make it as fruitful for you as possible? And so that's the value of just taking that time, blocking it out, and really thinking about where you are now. Is that where you want to be? How you got here? Where do you want to go? To what extent in your life can you use the room you have, the freedom that you do have, to make the life you want? Because we all have an element of freedom. Freedom from for a 5-year-old is different from a teenager, is different from a single guy, is different from a married guy with a wife and kids and a mortgage. It's different from a retiree, and it's different from a man whose kids are grown up and his wife's died. All very different levels of freedom. But freedom is still there. It's just a matter of how can you capitalize on it. And so as a result of some of this thinking and, doing some of that same thinking the week before, I was able to actually make some moves that allowed me to pay off most of my debt, with the exception of, mortgage and my current car lease. That's it. Everything else paid off. And there are moves I could have made before, but it just never occurred to me to use the method I used to do so, because life just kept on moving, getting up, taking the kids to school, going to work, coming back, rinse and repeat, right? Those of you who are married know what I'm talking about. And you don't have to be married for this to happen to you. It can happen to all of us when life just keeps on moving. We don't take time to hit pause. So do take the time to hit pause, because there is freedom out there. It might be an inch, it might be a mile, but it is out there. But you'll never know if you don't take the time to pause and think about it. Peace.